there. Hey everybody, it's Erica and I'm at my house today, and what we have at my house, we've had this for since we moved in 12 years ago. We've had this amazing linden tree and my kids have climbed it. We've had rope swings. I love this tree more than I love my house. But I just recently in my herbal studies, maybe a year ago, was able to identify it, because I didn't know, it was just this awesome tree in my yard, that it's a linden tree. And in my course of studies, I found out what different parts of the tree are useful for. And so today is the perfect day to harvest some of the blossoms. So you guys are going to see this kind of a tree around town. And right now they are just heavy dripping with blossoms. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at this leaf right here. So you'll see that a lot of the time a linden tree produces, it's not quite a heart shape, but it's kind of becoming a heart shaped. It's a dark green on one side. When you flip it over, it's a lighter green on the other. Can't really tell that right here because these leaves are so big, but the smaller ones you can see kind of a lighter pattern. But what we're finding is underneath those leaves is where the blossoms are. So I have a nice pattern over here. We can get off the tree. Oh, and it blew away again. Keeps blowing away. Well, come back over to the tree. Yep, it blew away. Having some wind issues. Here we go. This was my demonstration model. Yeah, see on the back side you can see that nice light silvery side, the darker green. Underneath those leaf patterns you're going to find these blossoms. Now we call this a bract. It's got its own leaf, and that leaf is different. You see, this is a long narrow leaf. This one's kind of toothy. It's got these beautiful little blossoms. Right now the pollinators are going crazy, but you see these trees all over town. Now I know that in my yard we haven't sprayed any insecticides. We haven't sprayed any we didn't do a fall treatment last year. We haven't done a spring or summer treatment this year. So I know that what my tree is producing is pesticide free and all that kind of stuff. So if you have a neighbor or friend that has a linden tree, knock on their door and ask, can I harvest a couple of your blossoms? But make sure that you know that you're certain when you go out into the wild, that you're certain that you know what you're picking, first of all, and second of all, has it been sprayed before? But so basically what we're going to do is you can either take scissors or just pluck it off, and that is what we're going to be drying. Okay, now we have several drying racks that we've made, and we're going to be drying these and using them. It'll take probably about 7 days for these to dry out, and then we're going to put them in a paper bag for storage. And then we want to make sure we're getting all the moisture out before we put them into a jar and seal them shut. Now there's nothing wrong with clipping off leaves and everything, putting that on your drying rack, but when you get ready to go to storage, you'll want to take the big heavy dark tree leaf off. You don't want to use that, and then you're left with the blossom. So guys, what we're going to do is once this is dry, we're going to use this into a tea. We're also going to make a simple syrup, and I'm going to try for the first time to infuse a honey. So I'm going to take these blossoms today right off the rack. I'm going to let them wilt most of the day and kind of dry out their initial moisture content. And I'm going to put those into some honey and see, maybe in a week or two, strain that back out and have a nice sweet linden blossom honey. And now you get the aromatics, the fragrance here smells much like honeysuckle, right? The tree itself provides shade, right? These are huge shade trees. That's why I love this tree. My kids have loved playing this tree. But how can we apply what we know about the tree to our health? So as this big canopy comes out and folds and makes down this cooling area for it, it also does that in our body. So maybe I'm the type of person that I run hot, or somebody might have an angry temper, or are you the type of person that if you say like, oh, my nerves feel frazzled or frizzled, right? These are all things that the plant can bring cooling to. So for me to use this in a simple syrup and put it into a lemonade, or combine it with other florals and other herbs and other teas, and make a nice cup of tea to help that hot person kind of become cooler over time. It's kind of how plants as medicine works. Now, we don't use that word very often, medicine, and this is my first harvest. This is my first attempt at drying, and this is my first kind of video where I'm trying to talk to you about things that we can use this in the body and still be compliant with terminology, right? So we've got these heart-shaped leaves here that can be sometimes an indication that this tree might offer some cardiovascular benefit. And so we want to look really carefully when we go to harvest something, you know, what's it going to do in my body? Are there any medications I'm taking that this might be contraindicated for? Has the area been sprayed before or not? And when you go out onto a walking path or you go out into the wild to go harvesting things, the other general rule that we like to follow is that we would take a third. We would leave 2/3 of a plant or a flower or whatever part of the tree we're going to harvest, or the plant or the flower, whatever bush. We want to leave 2/3 of that and just take a third for ourselves. Now, this tree is enormous. There's no way I could harvest a third of this, so we're going to be fine. But when you get into areas where you're looking at much smaller quantities, or maybe you found a rare a bush or something out in the wild, we want to leave 2/3 of that for nature. So hopefully you guys have been inspired. You can definitely ask me questions, comment. I have a linden tree and I want to make linden jelly, or I want to make linden honey or linden tea, or yeah, I really have that hot constitution. What else can I blend this with to kind of give me a cooling effect and kind of work on that over time? So we've got several of these racks to fill today, so we're going to log off of here, but hopefully this has inspired you to see what's growing around your neighborhood, around your house, and what can we do with it. So until then, guys, have a happy day, and we'll talk to you next time.